Let's tighten up, man. P Shark back here again with the guest, my guy, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer from Titans and Truth Podcast. How you doing, man?
Man, I am good. I am good right now. I tell you, it is so much fun. It's always great to talk football.
Yes, sir, especially the Titans. But today's episode, Memphis versus Nashville. And I had to kick it off. We both Memphis, so here we go.
Yes.
Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
Had to do it. Got a couple comments already. 2 toes on, man. What's up? Shout out.
Oh man, the fam is here. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I may have to add a little bit of flavor to that, Got to kind of, you really gotta, if we rep Memphis hard, being that we're here, you
Right.
kind of gotta, you gotta really know the flavor. Everybody gotta know the flavor.
Exactly. But
If you're really from the 901, you know about this right here. I just had to play a little bit of that.
yeah.
I had to play just a little bit of that for it.
They don't know about the culture, man.
Hey,
Oh,
that's
man.
that fun.
Right. 3-6.
Yes, indeed. 901 hard.
They got 2 times on 3-6. My triple 6. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You know,
sir.
you know. Yeah. Shout out to CM Jones. Yep. And like I said, CM Jones 615 for the 901. There we go.
Yes, it is. Much love to everybody back home in the 615, no doubt.
Right. So we're live right now on Twitter, live on YouTube, and live on Facebook from our Let's Be Real media page on Facebook. So, man, appreciate everybody tuning in so far. But most importantly, appreciate you for coming on, bro.
Always. It's a pleasure.
You're part of the reason I started Titans Podcast. I already been doing podcasts, but check out your show. Kind of encouraged me to go ahead and start an actual Titans show, since on our sports show we cover everything. So like sometimes talk about Titans, but not enough to my liking. So hey, I got I got a couple questions for you to start it off.
Hit me.
First up, I mean, we know you're from Memphis, but what part you grew up?
Well, for everybody in the 901, I only represent Black Haven.
You're the same hood.
I gotta rep Black Haven. I know everybody got North and South Parkway and everything, but respect the Haven, baby.
Yes,
respect the Haven.
For sure. So how? Well, it's two questions in one. How did you become a Titans fan, and when did you become a Titans fan?
Well, I became, now I'm gonna start off with the origin of the story a little bit, to kind of get everybody to speed. So, a long time ago, before I really got in, I was probably one of the biggest Cowboy fans in the world when I was like 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of my baptism into football,
Wow.
so to speak. And I will say this because my dad, my late dad, was one of the biggest 49er fans in the world. So we would always go at it. And so after he passed, I was like 12 years old at the time. After he passed, I, really stepped back from football for a bit. I mean, I played it in junior high and stuff, but I didn't really watch football like I did.
Right.
And so around 1996, I I saw, Eddie George and then, Steve McNair get drafted. I said, Dad, what's up with this team and what's up with this team in Houston? They got Eddie George. I heard of Eddie George at Ohio State, and now they got, Eric McNair. I'm like, Steve McNair, like, let me check these guys out. Let me see how they looking. And then, seeing them doing some good things and everything. So it was kind of starting to work on me. And then once they came to Tennessee and started here in Memphis, it's like, I'm in. I'm all in. I'm down. Really could go to games and stuff like that because, I was in high school at the time. So I really couldn't afford to go and stuff like that. But, when that happened and then they ended up moving to Nashville, it clicked, hometown team. So it kind of, started that way. And then as they became the Titans and things like that, I was all in. You got me. And I've been that way ever since. So it's been, 25 plus years and counting. And I ain't going nowhere no time soon. I tell my wife sometimes, you might have to bury me in this jersey. I have on a shirt and tie up, but bury me in my Titans jersey.
For sure. So, who is your all-time favorite Titans player?
Ooh, man, you hit me with some good ones right off the bat. All-time favorite Titans player. I know everybody would think I'll go with the obvious of Eddie George and Steve McNair, and I really love those guys. But I think I'm going to go a little off kilter on this one. And I'm gonna go a little bit off kilter, and I'm gonna have to say one of my favorite players has to be the Freak, Javon Curse. I enjoy watching him play, and I enjoy watching him play and just how fierce he was on the field and things like that. Me being a defensive guy, I played defense in high school and stuff. Another guy that really would probably make the list is Kyle Vanden Bosch. The guy plays with a motor. He never stopped. He never quit. There were times you would see him, he would have on the contacts. Sometimes he had the blue eyes, or sometimes he have on the red eyes. If he had on the red eyes, you knew he was all business. You knew it was business. Like, he's like, I'm for the wreck shop. I'm for to do some work. So, with the red eyes. And then, offensively, definitely love, always a fan of Frank Wycheck and all the things he did for this team. And, a lot of people won't give Lorenzo Neal enough credit. Eddie George wouldn't have been as great as he was without that big guy in front of him.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And, things like that. And so, I like some of those guys. I got to kind of go off kilter a little bit with that. But, those are some of my favorites. Of course, besides the obvious.
Right.
And, I will also have to add, just the fact of Derek Mason. D Mace.
Yep. Awesome plays.
Awesome plays, was a special teams guy and really did well with that, and then became a really good receiver. Him and Drew Bennett. And Drew Bennett was undrafted.
Yes.
Came in here to maybe battle as a backup quarterback, and then goes to receiver and did very well. Had a very, very solid career as a Tennessee Titan. So those are a couple of my favorites.
Nice, man. Also, really good list. I would say mine is, of course, Steve McNair. That's how I started watching football.
Right.
My all-time favorite player, period. I still remember that he died. There was like a very, just like one only, like outside of family members, that was the death that hit me. Like the celebrity death that hit me with Steve McNair.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Right. And you still say, Zoe Leo made it happen for sure. He said he met Javon Curse in 2002 in Jackson. Nice.
Yeah. And here's a quick funny story. I actually met Eddie George personally. So I might have told this story before, but so it was my birthday maybe about 4 years ago. And I was living in Nashville at the time. And so we went to a place called Monell's. It's a different kind of a restaurant.
I've been there.
Yeah. So how Monell's is set up, and I'm gonna give everybody kind of the setup. it's different than like going to a regular restaurant or to a buffet or anything like that. In this restaurant, they have a certain selection of food, but they're gonna just sit you anywhere. You don't have a particular table or anything. You just sit anywhere, and the tables are so big that anybody can sit with you. So it ain't just like if you're with, let's say, 4 or 5 people, it ain't gonna be just the 5 of you at that table.
Yep.
They'll bring more people that you don't know or anything like that to the table with you. So after we got done eating and everything, all of our friends and stuff like that, we got done eating. One of my frat brothers, shout out to the Signals, by the way.
Shout out.
One of my frat brothers was like, hey, Chris, Eddie Jordan's over there, man. You should go introduce yourself. Go meet him. I'm like, I see him over there with his family and stuff like that, and and I can never remember his wife's name, who's with SWV. So I see them over there, and I think his son had they just played a football game, and so I was like, I'm not going to go over there and interrupt it, their family breakfast and all that. I'm not going to do that. This fool drags me over to meet Eddie George. You're like, hey, Mr. Eddie, how you doing? This is my frat brother Chris. He really wanted to meet you. I'm like, you gonna have me interrupt this man's breakfast? I'm like, his wife is already looking at me funny, like, you interrupting, man. What you doing? Man. Like, what you doing? Like, I could tell she was burning a hole through me a little bit, was like, not now. So we talked for like 1 minute. We talked for like a minute, took a picture, and I told her, I said, I am so sorry for interrupting y'all family breakfast and everything. That was not what I wanted to do. Somebody else talked me into it. And so left after that. But that was like, that was crazy that happened. I was like, I wasn't even gonna go over there and say nothing to him, but hey, it happened. So it's cool.
That's what's up, man.
Real chill, real cool about it though.
That's good. Wow, hilarious story, man.
But yeah, his wife was not feeling it.
She was like, man, we just want to have eat in peace.
Exactly. She like, nah, like you leave us alone.
All right, man. So one last question before we get started on a more serious note. So how long have you been podcasting?
I started in 2016. Started off with that, and I actually started off with one of my sorority sisters, a good friend of mine, Miss Tamika Truth Hurts Wembley. That's where the truth kind of came from. So we were talking. We were at a little party or something like that with some frat brothers and some sorors and some other friends. And so she, we was talking about it. She's like, have you ever thought about starting a podcast? And I was like, I said, I don't know. I never really gave it some thought. I wouldn't mind doing that. It would be, kind of me trying to hone my craft because I'm really trying to get into the media, get into broadcasting, and maybe this could be a way to do it. So after that, we kind of sat down and kind of put out how we would do it and everything, and how would the show flow and things like that. Because it's like she was a fan of the time, but wanted to kind of learn more about the team on the inside and stuff like that. So that was really kind of how that started. We gelled and we started doing some episodes and things like that. From her crib, sometimes from mine, and it just gelled together. And, we would have kept doing it more. I know she, had to, focus more on her career and things like that. So I kind of had to take over on it, myself and things like that. But that's kind of how it started in 2016. And, now, about to come up on 5 years strong, almost 200 episodes later,
wow.
It's been cooking. And I ain't going nowhere no time soon.
Yeah, man. Great. Very interesting story.
And shout out to Taj, by the way, Miss Taj George, by the way. So, sorry to interrupt the meeting.
Yeah, man. Ian Talley, aka Ian TZ, said he remembered it.
My guy. My God.
Mr.
Yeah,
Ty.
definitely
You
a
got a couple of celebrities.
man. Shoot, Mr. Titan, a celebrity, his
Man,
dad
what?
himself.
Oh, Chris tweeting and talking about Chris Johnson out here.
Ain't that the truth? Had Chris Johnson just out of nowhere.
Right. In a restaurant. He'd go for real.
I know, right? But I
Mr.
love
Titan.
Mr. Titan, man. He's a great guy. Great guy.
Man. So, like, yeah, it's a pretty interesting story because I got into podcasting with Let's For Real podcast. It literally, we say it started with a dream in a tweet. It literally was it. I had a dream one night. I do not remember the dream to this day, back in 2017. And I literally woke up and said, I'm starting a podcast. Then,
right.
And my closest friends got together, started 5 of us, eventually got a starting 5 podcast with the Grizzlies, with Grizzly Bear Blues last year.
Mm-hmm.
We've been hitting the ground running ever since. And all of us started to Let's Be Real Media. Each of us got a podcast. I got Ty's podcast. We got Steelers podcast. Got a Real Talk podcast, Scooter Wishida, about real world issues. And so I got a different Titans podcast coming in the fall. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I will also say to everybody, you know, that's something that, you know, I'm trying to slowly start working on as well, is coming out with a podcast as well, talking about, well, I'm slowly starting with the Truth League report, you know, trying to kind of talk about other teams around the league, some of the other league news that's going on and things like that that's going to be going on, and maybe doing, you know, maybe throwing in some fantasy and stuff like that a little bit to kind of talk about that. And also trying to work on a podcast about all Tennessee sports. Maybe throwing in a little Vols, a little Vandy, which, you know, shout out to Vandy. They might be winning the College World Series tonight.
Right.
So talking about them, the Grizzlies, the Predators, now that they're going to have that, you know, stadium series and things like that. So, you know, definitely got to talk a lot about, there's a lot of great sports going on in the state. So, you know, Grizzlies and Titans are the main thing, but there's a whole lot of good things going on.
Right. So it's a shame that I see there's got to be rivals, but we'll get there in a second. Let's go and get into a little bit of Titans news before we get there.
Two-tone, I like that.
Right.
Said 2 times though, South.
That's about it. South Country. Well, it's funny, man.
Wow. Two-tone proud of Mr. Titan a little bit. God. I'm sorry, we just having a good time.
They're funny, man. All right. So, first up, Titans. The NFL announced that they are allowing the throwback, allowing the teams to wear another helmet, basically, so you can wear your throwback uniform again, starting in 2022. What are your thoughts about that? How you feel about the Titans and what they should wear?
Love it. I'm excited about it. Don't know which route they'll go with that, but I think they're going to go back to the old Oiler days, and I'm not talking about AFL Oiler days like they used to in the past. I think they should go back to like the 90s, the 80s, the 90s Oilers, the Earl Campbell Oilers, the Warren Moon, Steve McNair first Oilers. That's what they should go to, because I mean, it's the Houston Oilers. Yes, is rich with history that we still carry, because I mean, that, you know, Oilers come here, become the Titans. That history still stay with us. And to any Texan fans that are watching, look. Y'all don't have any right. You know, there's some people that say, well, the Houston Oilers should belong to the Texans. I'm like, no. Did y'all have Earl Campbell on your franchise?
Nope.
Did y'all draft Steve McNair? Did y'all have George Blandel, Mike Munchak, Robert Brazil, who is in the Hall of Fame? Did you have any of those guys on y'all team? No, you didn't. You just saying that because of the city of Houston, but the history stays with us. So I look forward to seeing that. I look forward to seeing that oil Derrick on Derrick Henry's head. And, you know, maybe they play a little bit of Beverly Hillbillies music on there. You know, said Nashville is the place we ought to be.
Exactly. You know, it's so funny, man. I wish I had the E40. Nope. The E40 song. Nope. Yup. I wish I had that.
Got another out. Nope. Got another out. Nope.
Perfect for it.
Wow. But I'm excited.
Man, I totally agree with everything you just said. I think, like you said, 80s, 90s, go back. Man, Houston just need to. That they're. Matter of fact, wear it against Houston to be exact.
Ooh, that would be just. That would be like. That would be just a slap in the face. That would be like a kick down low hanging fruit. That's exactly what that would be.
Man.
just to add insult to injury to piss them off even more, and then Derrick Henry runs through them in that uniform.
Exactly.
And Julio.
Ooh, yeah, man. So I didn't even want to go into that, but remember, well, you since apologizing and everything since thanks for inviting me on your draft show as well. I was on your draft show.
Oh man, that was awesome. That was awesome.
I remember at the time you was like, after we draft receiver to draft Des Fitzpatrick, you was like, you did mention you said you didn't want Julio. I think I assumed you said that because you didn't think we was actually gonna get him.
Yeah, and see, you know what? And I'll tell everybody this: if you watched my show, I did a show right after Julio was traded to the Titans because I was with Titan Upload and Mr. Titan and Ken Moore. We were all talking about this. And, me and Mr. Titan was like, we were like, it'd be great if we got him, but do we really want to go there? Do we really want to do that? Like, the rumor we're coming out is like, I don't know if they should do that or not, or I don't know if it's going to happen or anything like that. It's like, in my mind, I'm like, I wouldn't mind. I would love to have him, but it's like, is it realistic?
Right.
With the price, would the price be too much to pay? And I wasn't sure if J-Rob would actually make that move. And so after that happened, I'm like, you know what? I said I would, and I'm going to go ahead. I ate some crow. I swallowed my pride. I had to do an official apology. I sure did. So y'all go back and watch the apology show. Right after we got Julio. I had to do it.
But that's the apology you want to make. Like, that's the apology you're happy to make. You're not like, I apologize. It's like, yes, I'm glad I was wrong.
Oh, absolutely. I was definitely glad to make the apology. Even with a frozen screen right now, I'm glad to make, well, there you go. I was glad to make an apology. I mean, hey, when it comes to the Titans, I don't mind being wrong.
Right.
That's cool.
Exactly. That's what they didn't prove us right. Man, prove us wrong.
Exactly. So shout out to Titan Upload and Kid. Y'all did get that right. So thank y'all. And thank you everybody for accepting my apology. I felt so bad.
Oh man. It's like, because like you said, I said on our Let's Be Real podcast, the Titans don't make those type of moves. My favorite team specifically don't make those type of moves in any sport. Right. So it did. It was like, it actually happened. You didn't believe it. It was like, okay.
No. I was shocked because when that news came out on that Saturday morning, well, I want to say it was a Sunday morning.
Sunday, yeah.
It was a Sunday morning. I'm like, Jesus must have answered all of our prayers right then. Because I'm like, because my guy Lee Hillis, shout out to Lee, he was texting me like, did you hear the news? I was like, we got him. I'm like, got who? And so then it came across my phone. And I'm seeing there where it's like, Titans have acquired Julio Jones. I'm like, what the F? They actually pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they actually did it. What did they give up? And it was like, second round pick and something next year. I'm like, did this just happen? Did this really? I'm like, wow. J-Rob got cojones grande. I'm like, what? So I was like, you know what? That was one of the best apologies I ever made.
Man, same here, because I was actually on the way back from Nashville, when that trade happened. I had just hit Jackson, and like I don't text and drive, but I just saw something, notification come across my screen. I looked, I was like, oh, yeah, Julio. And my partner was right with me. He sleep. I woke him up. He's Titans fan too. I woke him up like, bro, we just got Julio. We were tight. My guy Dom, he was on last episode. So yeah.
Because I had to keep looking because I was like, is this for real? Is this for real? Let make sure it's not fake. Make sure it ain't fake. And then when I heard it was, I think Adam Schefter came out and some other people came out. I was like, oh, this is legit. This is legit.
Right.
So I was like, God, duh.
Man, great moment in Titans history.
Yes, it is.
Moment. But speaking of that moment for Titans history, assuming that we do believe that we are true Super Bowl contenders, I posted this poll question on my Twitter about 2 weeks ago. When was the last time since this season? And I only got these for 3 choices, and I said comment another one. So I said, when was the last time you thought that we were legit Super Bowl contenders? 2008 season, which is the season when 13-3, stomped on the terrible towel, we lost to the Ravens.
Yeah, I remember that.
2003 season was the season that was the AFC Championship season. That was the year before that.
That was the year. That was probably one of the best years that we had because that was the year we started 1-4. We started 1-4.
We did get the AFC Championship. Yeah, that was the year.
And it looked like we were dead in the water. And I believe we won 9 in a row. And we won it was 9 in a row, and I believe it was 10 out of our last 11 to win the AFC South and got all the way to the AFC Championship against the Raiders.
Beat the Steelers in overtime in the divisional game.
Yeah. Yep. The Joe Nedney acting job that went perfect.
And also, 2000 season, that was year 13-3, after the Super Bowl, after we lost by 1 yard, but we had lost to the 2000 Ravens, 2000 season, says y'all. The Ravens defense
was in, by the way. I'll take that to my grave. I'm taking that to my grave.
Okay, man. Hey, man, my future mother-in-law. Tony. Yep. And she get married in August. So.
Well, congratulations, man.
Appreciate it. And it was
welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
I'm right. Yep, right around the corner. Appreciate it.
Oh man, that's great. That is great.
Yeah, no further comment. Yeah, I did retweet that one 2008, and that was of course, the play clock violation. The play clock is 0. They didn't throw the flag. Now, me after that game, as much as that spot hurt, it was 3rd and 7. We fumbled the ball twice in the red zone. And when we fumbled both of those times, I couldn't help but think that's gonna cost us at the end of the game. I was like, we don't fumble twice in the red zone. We just get field goals on those drives. We win the game. So as much as you hate that play call, I was like, that play clock. I was like, man,
a lot of things went wrong in that game.
Got hurt. Yep, Chris Johnson got hurt in the first half.
Yep. So Algie Crumpler fumbles. And, I think Lindell White fumbled too, I think, in that game.
Yep, he did.
So many things that the Ravens needed to go wrong, it went their way.
Exactly.
And so that was just, man, that was like, that punched me in the heart for real watching that game. I know exactly where I was watching that game, and it just pained me so bad. So if I have to choose one, I mean, I think, when we were actually legit contenders, I would think it's the 2000 year that I think we were like, we could have really went to the Super Bowl if we had beaten the Ravens that day. And, some things went bad there. It's like every time against the Ravens, it's some extenuating circumstance that cost us the game. That one was the Eddie George interception and Aldell Greco missing kicks. Eddie George gets revenge a little bit on Ray, I believe, in 2005. Yeah, I want to say that was the year. And, and Gary Anderson coming out of nowhere, kicking field goal, kicking the game winner. 2008 was that, the fumbles and everything. Then we get lucky and beat, we didn't get lucky. We beat the brakes off of them in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, last year, only way they get lucky is Lamar Jackson gets out of the pocket somehow. Harold Landry had him dead to rights. Harold Landry had him dead to rights, had a sack right there. He slips away. Only bad play the defense made all game last year. So, I mean, but I would have to go with 2003 because I just think that was the most improbable run that we could have made. And, that was one of my favorite games from Steve McNair was the comeback against the Giants was one. I'm trying to remember some other games. I know we beat the Colts, I believe, to win the division. And then just the run, just winning off wins, going completely nuts. And, winning like 9 in a row. I'm like, incredible how all of that went down. So that would probably be my greatest season, but I think around 99, 2000, 2001, that was where we were like legit contenders.
Yeah, that was our best chance.
Yeah.
There's some like that someone had commented in 2019, of course. There was the AFC Championship run after starting season 2 and 4 when we replaced quarterbacks. I kind of left them off just for the fact legit. I didn't think we were legit Super Bowl until we had a surprise run. More so than
true.
Then we ran to the Chiefs, man. Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
And if it wasn't for just 1 or 2 plays, what was the Lombardi Trophy against San Francisco? Because I believe in whole heart of hearts, watching that game, we would have beat San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
We would have beat the crap out of them.
Oh, and another year that I could think of, 2002, right before 2003. We ended that season 12-4. We lost the division by tiebreaker to the Colts because I will never forget Justin McCarron fumbling that punt return, muffing that punt. Us lose to the Colts. That lost us that tiebreaker. Then we lost to the Patriots. We lost to the Patriots. I want to say division round by field goal.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was probably I want to say that was one of Steve McNair's last games. I want to say, wasn't that one of Steve McNair's last? No, I take that back.
Because he was there in 2005 when he had George.
Okay, thank you.
Those ones last games.
Last games as a Titan, yeah. So I remember that, and then I would probably say, look, let me tell y'all, being a Titan for 25 years has its ups and downs. We had our ups in the early 2000s to about 2004. Real fans know. Time between about 2004 to 2008 was as rough as it could get. Granted, we had the Wiz and Cant times too, which was pathetic.
Ooh.
But before that, you had your 4-12 and 5-11 seasons, where Skip Hicks is running the ball, and by then Eddie George is gone. By then McNair is gone. And, I remember a game getting blown out by the Bears at home and things like that. Like, going through, it's great with the good times, but, we real fans all know how it is going through the bad times. It's rough.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Man.
And then just watching Mariota getting murdered by Olivier Vernon and J.J. Watt, not J.J. Watt, Zach Benberger did, when you put Jeremiah Patasi out the back, go after him one-on-one.
He talking stuff to J.J. Watt.
Exactly. And
don't forget Jake Locker.
And no,
stay getting hurt.
How about the one injury where nobody hit him? Nobody hit him. He literally goes to head off the ball. Nobody's there. Because he changed the play. He changed the play. Obviously, nobody else got the call. He goes to hand off. Nobody's there. Turns on one foot. And then that's how he got that Lisfranc injury, which I never heard of it until he got it.
Get this 59-0. See, I thought about that when you was talking about those years.
Hold on a second.
Rest in peace. More like a 6-game winning streak after that. Fishon came in. We had the bye week. Fishon came in and won a 6-game winning streak.
That was the saddest game I ever had to endure in my life.
In the snow.
In the snow. Worse than the 21-0 Baltimore beat down in the rain.
That was years ago.
Yeah. And 11 sacks. But that one was the worst. That one, I honestly think as a Titans fan, I couldn't get no lower. That was like, I literally, and my best friend is a diehard Patriots fan. Oh, God. I'm sorry. Saying that makes me literally want to throw up. So I'm sorry about that. But I mean, that was like, I literally cried after that game. I'm like, saddest day of my life.
We come a long way. We come a long way for this season, man. We come a long way.
Yes, we have.
All right, it's time to get to the nitty gritty of the episode. The title: Memphis versus Nashville. If y'all want to know how this started, I got some tweets to show. First up, Mr. Jake and Hoops. With Memphis, he started with this. If you could move an NBA franchise from one city to another, which would you move? Number one for me has to be the Grizzlies from Memphis to Nashville. The crowds at Predators games are insane. Guaranteed NBA games would be wild. My first thought is he's never been to a Grizzlies game. Second thought, he didn't see the Whoop That Trick video at the Grizzlies game.
This is my response to that. And I have been in both situations. I have been to a Memphis Grizzlies game, especially when it's popping. Just went to a playoff game, about a month ago.
Jackson.
Great atmosphere. Couldn't even have everybody, but great atmosphere nevertheless. I have been to a Predators game. And yes, Predators games are buck wild. No doubt about it. I mean, from start to finish, it is loud. It is intense. They have a particular section that just gets everybody fired up. Cell block 303. But here's the difference. Memphis is a basketball city.
Exactly.
We are rich in basketball culture, from the Memphis Tigers to the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies ain't going nowhere no time soon. It's too rich in basketball history to go anywhere. So when the Seattle Supersonics come back, the Grizzlies are not going to Seattle. Sorry to bust everybody's bubble who wants that to happen or thinks it would.
No, sir.
Ain't happening, not never.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the same time, I just don't think basketball will work in Nashville like that. Right. Because, I mean, you're bringing basketball to a city that is really not that rich in basketball culture, with the exception of the SEC tournament. And, yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt back in the day was a good college team. It's a college town, mostly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mostly. I mean, of course, you got the Titans and you got the Predators, and that's great. And that's perfect for that city. And I know they're talking about possibly bringing Major League Baseball there and everything. I mean, you got the Sounds, a minor league team doing very well right now. But basketball, I don't think basketball fits in Nashville. Just like, honestly, NHL would not fit here in Memphis, to be honest. I mean, the Memphis River Kings or the Mississippi River Kings did well, even though mostly they were in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
They were mostly in Mississippi. And it worked for a good while.
Yeah.
And, football may not necessarily work here either because we've tried that like twice. Well, 3 times to be exact. And it never really stuck. I mean, Oilers tried to be here, but, it's too saturated. We'll get into that. And then you had the Arena League, and then you had XFL.
Yep.
So I like it the way it is.
Yep. That's like, and let me show this next tweet by this guy from Memphis who tweeted this one. All right, Mr. Jermaine Smith. He wanted to say the Titans would have been better in Memphis than Nashville. That's fact. Nashville's bland city with no soul. When I went to the Titans game and they were winning, it was more fans for the other team than Titans.
Okay. As a still homie Nashvilleian, loving Memphis though, you got to understand the schematics of Nashville. I lived in Nashville for almost 10 years. Nashville is a growing city. It is a party city. A lot of people move there a lot. They have, honestly enough, there is an average of around 50 to 100 people moving there almost daily. At least every month, there's a lot of new people that move to Nashville. Nashville is growing. That's why they have a major traffic problem because so many people are moving there.
Terrible.
It's a great city. I love Nashville. I've told, even though I'm living here in Memphis, and Memphis is my hometown, I've told my wife, if we got a chance to move back to Nashville, we're going back.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back. I miss the hell out of that city. And I love Memphis. Don't get me wrong. I love Memphis. Memphis is my hometown. True. But I have so much love for Nashville, it does not make no sense. The fact of the matter is, it is a party town. They know how to throw a party.
They do.
And if you're going to, and Mr. Jeremy, if you're going to say it's bland, go back and look at pictures and stuff from the NFL draft when it was there. It was a party.
I was there.
One of the most beautiful scenes I have ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
When they said, they might have exaggerated a little bit when they said 600,000, but
it was a lot.
That was a lot. 400,000, I would believe that. It was a huge amount. Guaranteed. Because you had the draft going on, the Titans making their run, and yes, a lot of other people's fans are at Titans games because it is a great place to travel. It's in a central location, because before the Titans, it's like Memphis. Before the Titans came there, a lot of people living in Nashville already had allegiances to other teams already.
Exactly.
Like one of my other best friends, is a big-time Steeler fan. His wife is a Patriots fan. They were that before the Titans even showed up.
Exactly.
And the Steelers have so much rich history. So that, you got that going on. A lot of people that live in Nashville are fans of other teams. And people love to travel to Nashville, have a good time on Broadway. It's not saying that, there aren't Titan fans there. Trust me, there's plenty of us, and I think more are coming in.
Exactly.
With that. But it is a great city, a great party city. The Tennessee Oilers, it tried here. The reason that the Oilers did not work here, in my opinion, and this is just me, again, there was too many allegiances to other teams.
Yep.
Man, we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is
Cowboys.
Memphis is too saturated with Cowboys and Steeler fans. Way too saturated. Too saturated for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
So, if any of y'all in Memphis, come down to Indigo during the season. We gonna get that back. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what that is. It's 45% Steelers, 45% Cowboys, and about 10% everybody else. Mostly 49ers, Eagles, and you got Raiders, Dolphins. Get a lot of that. We're trying to take some of that pie.
Right. Get our slice. Oh, man. So, my opinion on it all is this. like I said, I was young. I was born in '92, so around that time, the Grizzlies were trying to get in. I mean, not the Grizzlies. Memphis was trying to get an NFL team from what I've heard, but they didn't want to build a new stadium. I heard that. I think that's what I heard. And NFL wanted a new stadium. Nashville agreed to build a new stadium.
Yep.
So I love my city. I love my city, but they do mess up in a lot of areas. And
I agree, and I agree with that because I'm like, I agree with that one because they tried to keep it at the Liberty Bowl, and originally I think Nashville originally was going to be the spot, and they were supposed to have. I think at the time the Oilers were supposed to be there for 2 years. We're supposed to be here for at least 2 years, while at the time Adelphia Coliseum was being built. And when that didn't happen, that's why they went ahead and went to Vanderbilt instead. So, yeah, if the city of Memphis had decided to go ahead and build a new stadium, perhaps the Oilers stay here and the Tennessee Titans are right here in Memphis.
Yeah, we support them.
Possibly.
Yep.
And I think, yes, it would have took a lot of work to maybe turn some of those Steeler, Cowboy fans to Titan fans because winning cures everything. Yep. It's like the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you're winning, they'll come.
Because honestly, the Grizzlies, love the Grizzlies. Games we packed, the grind house and playoff time, great. Yeah. But when the Lakers and now the Warriors, when they are in town, you go to a game, I see a lot of Lakers jerseys and I see a lot of Warriors jerseys.
Yep. You're going to see that. Boston, Celtics kind of, you're going to see some of that.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of any other team that, Bulls, maybe you'll see some of that. I think we can, we can kind of get tit for tat. Yep. But, I mean, with the Grizzlies, it had to grow. For the Grizzlies, it had to grow. Exactly. It had to start off. Because, I mean, Vancouver stunk. Yep. And now they come here. It stunk for a minute. It stunk for a while, And I mean, Sidney Lowe was the coach of the Grizzlies, and that's kind of where he got started to come up. It took a while. Sidney Lowe tried, but he kind of built the foundation a little bit of where things started to get better, and then that's where Huey Brown and Mike Fratello took it over. So
for sure. Hey, look at some more of the comments. Ian Talley or Ian TZ. Where you go back or was supposed to play Liberty Bowl, which, like I say, I think the way Memphis is set up, and I know he's from Jackson. I saw him say something about Jackson earlier. Let me find that comment.
Yeah,
y'all know something about Jackson. He ain't quiet. This is killing. But back to his comment. So the thing about Memphis and our culture, we knew that. I guess I was 5 years. I was 5 years old, so I have no.
Yeah, and I was like I think I was just starting to go to I want to say I was just starting to go to junior high at the time. Right. So I was in about the 7th grade. And stuff like that when all that was going out. 7th, 8th grade when it was really going down. And like you said, it was supposed to be for 2 years, and we knew they were gonna head to Nashville.
Yeah. Oh, Memphis don't do that. We don't support
it. If it was like, we're going to see if we can work it here in Memphis.
Right.
And like, there was no plan to move to Nashville. Then maybe there could have been some traction there. Yeah. Maybe people would have came on board. You see me there, you see Eddie George. If they were staying here, then yeah, it might have could have worked. It would have been tough. It would have been tough with all the Cowboy and Steeler fans oversaturating it. But I think everybody loving football, it would have worked. Yep. I mean, we look at the Memphis Tigers. We're both Memphis guys. There was a time where Memphis football stunk.
What was that? My freshman year of college, back in 2010, we played Mississippi State. I left the game at halftime. We was down like 30-0, and both of their running backs had 100 yards, and it was nobody at the game. Now look at the Liberty Bowl.
Exactly, and I mean, it was that. We all thought Larry Porter coming from LSU was going to be good, and it didn't work. Rip Shearer tried to do some things and stuff like that, and it took time. Because there were times where it was like you would read the commercial appeal and be like, there were barely 5,000 people at a game. 5, maybe 10,000 people at the game. Now you go into Tiger games, it's like 40,000. It's like, 30, 40,000 people there.
Yep.
So, it's hard to sell that stadium out, but it'd be a big crowd.
Get a good team, get on College game day, and you sell it out against SMU. I was there.
Hold on with you. Me too.
Yeah,
I was there too. It was, oh my God, that would probably be the greatest. I would say one of the 2 greatest Memphis Tiger sports games I've ever attended. Was that one, and at FedEx Forum when we were a top team and we played Gonzaga. I think we were number 1. Yeah, we were number 1. I think Gonzaga was number 3.
Hey.
And Adam Morrison was playing for the Zags. And
it was college game day was there too, wasn't it?
I think College game day was there. And I mean, I always say it. That was one of the greatest games I have ever been to. Period. Hands down in that arena. And so great memories.
Yep, man. So the end of like that, man. Memphis Nashville rivalry. I guess this is going on even longer before the Titans, as far as I know. We not even get to the specifics about barbecue and all this stuff. I mean, we know keep it strictly sports. But I think both cities it's worked out well so far, in my opinion. I like the Titans. I like the Predators are perfect for Nashville. The Grizzlies are perfect for Memphis. Just leave it to where it is.
Exactly. and I mean, and what's funny was I was just talking to my wife about this a little bit before I came up and we got on. And, it was like, a lot of kids go to TSU from Memphis, go to TSU or go to Vanderbilt or something like that. A lot of kids come up there and are from Memphis. And so, I know a lot. It's a stereotype that there are a lot of people that are like Nashville homegrown, like we're better than Memphis. We're above Memphis. And then some people think, Memphis, a lot of Memphis folk would think Nashville, they too uppity. They couldn't handle it here. They couldn't handle it. We blue collar. We tough, and things like that.
Right.
So I think both cities, I don't think there's really, I think it's a more of a friendly fire type of rivalry.
It's not a fight. It's not like a fighting word type of.
Nah, it's not. I don't think it's not that because I know some people. I know people from Nashville who come to Memphis and have a good time. Yep. People go to Nashville have a good time.
Exactly.
So, I think it's friendly fire and things like that. Not like how right now it looks like there's a rivalry brewing between Nashville and Raleigh, North Carolina over some stuff that's going on. Because I mean, you got, you had the Predators playing Carolina. That little thing was going on. And then, of course, the College World Series that's going on. And for a lot of people that don't know, Vanderbilt was playing North Carolina State. And NC State beat Vanderbilt earlier in the tournament. And then Vandy beats NC State, but NC State had a whole lot of guys out for COVID concerns.
Yeah.
And then NCAA ruled, because they were supposed to play the next day.
Yeah.
They were like,
they did it overnight. It was like 2 in the morning.
Like at 2 or 3 in the morning, saying, you know what, NC State's out. Vanderbilt goes to the finals. And so, that happened. A lot of people thinking that Vanderbilt cheated and there's an asterisk by it and it wasn't fair. And it's like, y'all guys should have been vaccinated. If y'all had been vaccinated, maybe none of that would have happened. Y'all still would have been playing because they said it at Vanderbilt. That is a university policy. All students, not just athletes, but all students had to be fully vaccinated at that school. For everything. So, that is, something that it made a lot of people upset. It really did. So it was, it's crazy how that's going on. And of course, right now that game is delayed with Mississippi State. So I don't know what's going on. I think it's weather. So shout out to Vanderbilt.
Shout out to the SEC. Going getting to the championship against each other.
That's common with both cities. It's SEC. They talk more Tennessee and Vandy up there Down here, of course, you're talking Ole Miss,
Mississippi State,
you know,
Arkansas,
you know, definitely. So it's a lot of that going on and everything. So it's unique. As Ian said, it's unique.
And Two Tone Zone, we didn't want to take it there, but that's understood. We just got better food. Hey, there's no argument. They can argue all day with that one.
Definitely better barbecue. Although I would give a shout out.
And wings.
Yeah. Although I will give a shout out to one barbecue restaurant in Nashville. I love it to death. Famous Days. I love their barbecue. Their barbecue is absolutely delicious. No doubt about it. I'll give them that one.
Okay. I try them out this time I go. But also, I eat that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. And Martin's barbecue, I'm going to have to try them when I go back.
Okay. So finish off, man, with Ian Teasy, bro. They both had a uniqueness for different reasons. Love both cities. Well said.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Love them both.
No lie, so right. Man. But end off on that note, man. Again, appreciate you coming on, man. Tell everyone where to follow you and watch you at.
Well, everybody, it's very easy to follow. It's very easy to find me. Of course, on YouTube, just search Titans in Truth. That's Titans and then the letter N and Truth. Very easy to find. You'll see a nice, good picture of Ryan Tannehill on the page. Very easy to find. Matter of fact, I am gonna try to see if I can show it right here. This is the channel. If I can get the camera,
there you go.
It's a little fuzzy, but not hard to find. There it is, right there. That's the channel. You'll find all the stuff there. Also on Facebook, TNT Enforcers. That's where you find the Facebook fan page. The shows will go on there. You know, a lot of people put a lot of crazy stuff on there. If it's about Titans or football or, anything essential to the state of Tennessee, that's cool. That's fine. We're talking sports. It's good. Mm-hmm. Also on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. That's TNT BLUEN number 4 CER. And then on Instagram at Titans_N_truth. That's where you can find me on IG. Definitely got a lot of things got quite a few things coming up. There will not be a show tomorrow. I usually go on Wednesday, but it will not be a show tomorrow. But there will be a show next week as we pay tribute to Steve McNair. Nice. I'll give some of my fine moments from Steve McNair's career that I enjoyed. We'll probably talk about some training camp battles that may be coming up in the coming weeks. And got a special show coming up. May have Let's Tighten Up, 2 Tones On. I'm going to talk to some of the guys and some other media people as well. As we're going to have a forum. It's either going to be all ladies as we're talking about, celebrating the women in sports, or it'll be all media as we talk about people getting into the business. How did they get in and what inspired them, to be in this profession, because I think some of us would love to be in that profession and get paid
exactly.
fully.
Right.
That's what we're trying to get to. So that's something that's going to be coming up in the coming weeks before we get into training camp.
No doubt, man. And appreciate 2 Tones On, and hit the like button, share the video. Go ahead, subscribe, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate all y'all. Like I said, y'all kind of got me into the game. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Ian Teasy, 2 Tones On. So Ty Upload came in for a second. Mr. Ty, man. Shout out to y'all. Let me say Cozy Corner. He sure was happy about it. But follow me on Twitter at LB. Remember, follow me on Twitter at LBR Tighten Up. Follow the Let's Be Real Media page, LB Real Media. Check out other podcasts on there. You can listen to show, watch the show live also on Facebook, because I'll be going live on the Let's Be Real Media page on Facebook. And subscribe on YouTube as well at Let's Tighten Up Pod. And after the show, I'm audio as well. I'm on Apple, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts as well. Day after for the audio only, if you prefer audio. So
absolutely. And I just hit the like button. Y'all better go smash the heck out of that like button. man, help Let's Title Podcast out. They put all the good stuff together, not just about the Titans, but about other teams and other sports and stuff like that. Man, hit this guy up. He came on my draft show. It was awesome for 2 nights. We had a great time. They dealt with me and my foolishness.
Yes, we did. Shout out to Lee.
Yeah. And we had, I think we all had a ball. We had a ball and good laugh. That was the main thing. So y'all go back and watch that draft show. And P Sharp, man, always appreciate you having me, man.
Man, appreciate you. Can't wait till the fall when we link up in person again for.
Oh, yes. And I'll be, if y'all in Memphis, I will be at Indigo all year, all season, with the exception of any games where I'm at Nissan Stadium.
Exactly.
Where I'm at Nissan Stadium. Other than that, I've been talking with the president of the Memphis Titans, Titans fan club of Memphis, my guy Preston Brown. Shout out to him. Definitely P Sharp. We gonna be there. We gonna link up and stuff like that. And so I'm gonna be there all season. We're gonna be doing. It's either gonna be pregame, postgame, and some in the middle, or I'll just live stream and talk about the game as it's happening. So one of those two things is you're not gonna be able to get enough. P Sharp might come on there with me, and we be talking during the whole time. So definitely look out for that.
Exactly. Titans. Don't worry about national media. You got all these Titans YouTubers here.
Bang.
So until next time, tighten up.
Holla.